All right, good evening, everyone. I will call our Bloomington City Council listening session to order. Tonight is Monday, May 18th, 2026. Thanks for everybody being here. We have three people who called ahead, and I think I see them all in the room here. Sally and Andrew Thule and Jamie Anthony. So we're good to go. Is anybody else looking to speak tonight? Anybody else? And okay, what's your name? Chris, what's your last name? Very good, Chris. We will get you on the list. Anybody else? All right. So what we'll do then, you guys know the drill, I think. As you come up, if you could just introduce yourself. And with four speakers, we'll probably give 6 or so minutes and be able to ask questions and have the conversation here. So good evening, Sally, and welcome.
Sally Ness. From the staff presentation, term 10 years with automatic renewals unless Darrell Farouk opts out. This alone is the reason for a council member or the mayor to second Councilmember Rivas' motion and vote to revisit the approval of the shared agreement. The city should not sign an agreement that it can't opt out of. It obligates the city to maintain parking spaces, including plowing and lighting, even if they are not needed. The agreement obligates the city to provide parking spaces within so many feet of the Darrell Farouk property that the city will not be able to plan the future of Smith Park as it needs or what is best for residents. From the staff presentation, shared access and parking remain. Note, connection to CUP. The shared parking spaces that the city provides to Darrell Farouk to comply with its CUP are not a factor in whether to maintain the parking portion of the shared agreement. If it is not in the best interest of the residents to share parking, then the city should not share parking, and Darrell Farouk can construct parking spaces on its property to be compliant. Signing an agreement that the city can't opt out of is not in the best interest of its residents, and neither is signing an agreement to share parking when the city does not need parking, especially if the agreement does not share the football soccer field. I received a response to the emails I sent to the mayor and council, which stated the city council made the correct decision in opting out of the shared use agreement with Darrell Farouk. Yet it approved a new shared agreement where the city can't opt out. That should not happen. Again, the email points out the ability to opt out while approving a new agreement where it can't opt out. The response also states the field will need significant capital improvements in the very near future. This statement is not supported by data. The response continues, if the city is going to make sizable investments in fields, they will be made on city-owned properties to ensure the long-term sustainability of our park system. I recall the city and council expressing concern that the city is landlocked, and it would be better to maintain interest in the use of land than not, especially in Service Area 4, which is underserved with 6.49 acres per 1,000 people, significantly less than the other areas of 19.22, 29.59, and 66.86 acres, especially in a city that promotes sustainability. Smith Park is a community park, serves the greatest population 18 and under, and it has the second lowest household income. Removing the city's interest in the Smith Park football soccer field on the Darrell Farouk property results in athletes on the east side having to drive further to practices and games. That is not sustainable. City staff, quote, state they have seen enough decline in the use of the fields for the youth sports on that site, unquote. Is not supported by data. If a field is not used, staff would know why and fix it, not abandon it. Once the use of the property is gone, it is gone. Once a field is unavailable and residents have to drive further to get an athlete to an athletic event, athletes drop out. If there were significant capital improvements, it would cost less to improve the field, especially where the cost would be shared. It would cost less to maintain a shared field where the city mows the field and the owner mows the perimeter and waters the field as agreed originally. It must cost less, or the city would have purchased the field when it had first option to purchase it. Thanks.
Council, any questions? Very good. Thank you, Sally. Andy.
Hello, Council. Andy Toole here, 54-year resident of Bloomington. So first off, what Sally was talking about, there is a need for the premium fields to be played on. And I have reached out to some athletic associations, especially soccer, I would say is one of the needs, in our neighborhood. So I say, why build a new field if we already have a joint use agreement, in play, because taxpayer money was used for that field before. So why build a new one if we don't have to? The contract that was negotiated by the city looks to not be a fair contract. It allows one party to opt out and not the other to opt out. So the city should keep that current contract or negotiate fairly, and both parties should actually be able to opt out of the contract. But it looks like one party is only allowed to opt out of it. The city did have current demand for the premium field, and because it was a premium field, obviously it doesn't get used as much because it sits on higher ground than the other fields. Very nice field to actually give it away, but the city stopped offering the space to the teams at the council vote that just happened. So really the people had no time to weigh in on the premium field. One of the things that currently on the debriefing, the Smith Park and the surrounding area has really not been kept up by the city. So I'm going to give you a couple examples that came to my attention. One of them, if you look at the tennis courts over there, the sign on the tennis court says ENNIS courts over there, right on the outside of the field or outside of the tennis court. So ENNS courts. Another one, you see like brush kind of growing up around the tennis courts in the fence area. There's a large crack down the middle of the tennis court with a bunch of weeds kind of growing up, right? So it's not in good shape, right? So it makes me wonder if that tennis court is going to be continued as a joint use agreement. The other sign in the picnic shelter just to the north of the Smith Park has a sign that's basically burnt and water damaged. So a couple signs are in need of some city maintenance, for sure. So if you look at those signs, they're way out. The picnic shelter, just to the east of the Smith Park, basically there's a bunch of leaves and debris below the benches. Like there hasn't been any sweeping or any. Park should be coming in there, at least blowing them out, cleaning them out. So that I have pictures of these, and I hope you guys got them. In there was a bunch of debris kind of left over, and one of the things, one of the charcoal barbecue grills has a big hole burnt right through the bottom of the grill. So there's charcoal kind of laying on the ground in that picnic shelter. There's a lot of garbage in the park, including in that brand new park, on top of the turf. So they're one of the things that you'll see over there is the garbage cans typically are placed along, probably for easy pickup of the garbage trucks. They kind of sit right along the park property. And so what I think happens is people are in the park. They don't have garbage cans placed equally throughout the park. And so people end up dropping garbage throughout the park. So it'd probably help to put some garbage cans maybe in the park where people have easier access. I think you'd see less garbage, in the park, but there's garbage like all over the place. In the curbs, gutters, in the park, along the fences, So I took several pictures of that so you guys could see it. Near the park, near the brand new park, a lot of the grass has either not been reseeded or it's like weeds and dirt, so erosion is kind of taking place in that park. One of the things the public has kind of said too is the porta potties are frequently overused and dirty. And I've showed you guys a pic. I don't like to go into porta potties and take pictures, but they're pretty nasty. And I don't know if that park, because of the number of people that come there, needs more, but I know Boyer Park is a bigger one. But it's the porta potties definitely like get used and abused. And I don't know what their maintenance schedule is, if it's a weekly maintenance schedule or if there needs to be more maintenance, done on that. But all in all, a park that has this amount of density, there's a lot of apartments, a lot of, there's a dense population, around this. So I just think it needs to be better kept. And I don't know how many park staff or maintenance come into this area. One of the pictures shows my daughter. She must be I don't know if she's going to work for the city or not, but she's down near the pond and she was cleaning up along the shores of the pond, kind of picking up debris. She got a whole bag full rather quickly. There's definitely a problem with it's a storm pond. you guys know that's a storm pond. So what happens is I believe there's some filters and there's some underground vats. And what happens is the debris from neighboring businesses, it's probably like shoveling in a snowstorm, but if you go over there, the shorelines are full of metal cans, plastic bottles, lots and lots of debris, right? So, but we're going to probably go over there and pick up some more, city land, so we can do that, and volunteer. But my daughter was over there with her red, white, and blue dress on, kind of working away, even got some sunburn on her shoulders, So, but I think the public, there was probably over 75 likes and 64 comments, of concerns. This is a park that I grew up in that was actually, well, it used to be Northgate Elementary when I grew up, so I went there as an elementary school student. We had hockey rinks there. We did sledding there. We had a nice we had a warming house that was open in the winter, so we could actually use the warming house. So I'd really love to see that warming house like open again, if it's possible for the public. Now, would the public damage the potties in there? I don't know, but it'd be nice to see some programming kind of back in the park. But so I don't know if anybody's got questions, but I'm just concerned about the cleanliness of the park.
Duly noted. I'm sure. I see Mr. Walker taking all kinds of notes here, and duly noted. And you did mention the pond itself is a stormwater collection pond, and so all of that stuff is coming from basically from American Boulevard.
Yeah.
And so it's been a constant challenge because it's coming a long way, and they could get down there every week and pick that up, and then by the next week it's the same thing. So it is a challenge without question.
Filters down there for that pond.
There used to be.
There's some kind of filters that filter the debris, and there's a neighbor that maybe 3-4 years ago kind of said, hey, this is really dirty. I wouldn't want ducks or wildlife to be in this area. But do you guys know how often those filters get maintained?
I don't. But between the filters and I know I think they've used catch bags in the past or something along those lines. But we can take a look into that But like I said, it's coming off of American Boulevard. It's a constant challenge.
Yeah, I think some of the I think the stormwater there's the Walmart parking lot. There's a lot of flat surfaces that are just north of the area. But I said about you guys, I know I'll tell you what gets used over there a lot is the basketball courts and the tennis courts. So basketball courts, when I walk by there, they always get used.
And those aren't going anywhere.
No,
they're not going anywhere.
I can see those two get used, but yeah, no, I appreciate your time, Council. And again, the stop signs look like they're going to be going in over in my neighborhood. They got some stakes and some markers on the ground, so I'm looking forward to some safer intersections over in my area. So
sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Jamie. Good evening and welcome.
Hi, I'm back. Hi. This time I wrote it on a phone instead of my scratch pad. Bear with me. Hi, good evening, City Council. I'm Jamie Anthony, and I'm a resident of District 4. What up, Rivas? Hi, good to see you. In Bloomington, and I am here tonight because I love our community. Bloomington is experiencing growth, thank goodness. And with growth comes change, and change brings unfamiliar faces and foods and faiths, but it doesn't need to bring fear. And I know that I have neighbors who want to frame the growth of our Muslim community as a threat to Bloomington, and I am here tonight to firmly reject that narrative and to invite all of you to join me in rejecting that narrative. Just like our Lutheran and Latino and Scandinavian and Catholic and Black and Dakota and atheist neighbors, our Muslim neighbors are active and engaged in Bloomington. They own small businesses, they're parents, they pay taxes, they volunteer. Our Muslim neighbors care about safe streets and good schools and a thriving local economy, just like we all do. But perhaps most importantly in all of that, our Muslim neighbors are each unique people who have different interests and experiences and backgrounds from each other. They are not a monolithic group who pray, relax, behave, or think the same way. Some of our Muslim neighbors might even make mistakes or have horrible taste in music or break the law, just like I might. And we might not agree on the best way to run a city or take care of our yards or parent our children. And I definitely don't share the same religious beliefs as any of my Muslim or Christian neighbors. But we are all governed by the same Bloomington laws and ordinances and other guidelines. And I find a lot of comfort in that. Unfortunately, we have some neighbors who are afraid that Islam, and by extension, our Muslim neighbors, are a threat to Bloomington. They hear horrible stories about religious fundamentalists, stories that we can all agree are scary. However, those stories do not represent the loving faith of Islam that I see practiced daily by my Muslim friends and neighbors. Tonight, we haven't heard any anti-Muslim commentary. Sometimes our neighbors' concerns are shared without explicitly naming our Muslim neighbors or their faith in Islam. But when these concerns pertain to land owned by Muslim neighbors, or school resources used by Muslim students, or businesses run by Muslim leaders, I'm challenged to feel anything but defensive about my Muslim friends and neighbors. Fear-mongering and exclusion have no place in Bloomington civic conversations. And I want to be sure that our city council hears my plea to reject any rhetoric that seeks to divide us into an us versus them dichotomy. When people come to you with concerns about Bloomington, I ask that you please hold us accountable. Ask us questions, challenge our assumptions, provide facts, find common ground, and please hold us all accountable. Thank you very much for your good work to ensure that our city continues to operate its public spaces, ordinances, laws, safety measures, and decisions so that every resident is protected equally and with the dignity that every neighbor deserves. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Council, any questions? Very good. Thank you. Chris. I'm sorry, Chris, was it Mickelson or Nicholson? With an N. I had that wrong. I'm glad I asked.
It's okay.
Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening. Hello, Mr. Mayor, City Council. I don't have a prepared statement for you tonight, like the others. I'm just here to inform everyone. I understand there's issues concerned around the recent use agreement with DAF regarding the field behind the property. I'm coming to you as a community member, and I can just tell you that it's my understanding that Park and Rec informed you all that field is no longer used by the community, and I just want to tell you that that's inaccurate, that BAA doesn't indeed use and reserve that field for soccer games from August to about mid-October. They play 2 soccer games there a night, 4 nights a week. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone understood that there was misinformation given. That field is important to them, as it is one of the few lit fields we have access to for soccer. So
Absolutely. I appreciate that, Chris. And I do think what we heard from the park staff was not that they no longer use it. It's just that the use was declining pretty precipitously.
sure.
That's what we heard. So it wasn't
Sure.
necessarily a,
And that I can't comment on that. I can tell you that losing a lit field will very much hurt that program.
thank you. Councilmember Nelson, you have a question, comment?
I can hear that.
On the recording.
Fair
Um,
enough.
are you on the BAA board or do you represent BAA in any way?
I am not here to represent BAA. I am just here to present that information, but I do sit on the board.
Thank you.
Just a clarifying point, didn't we receive an email from BAA about the field? And what did they say?
Yes, Council Mayor, Bloomington Athletic Association reached out to us They are the sole user of that field as far as athletic associations go. It had approximately 50 reservations last year for that field. They are a partner with us in a youth sports study that we're doing right now to look at how we program all of our fields. But they were aware of and not participatory, but aware of the agreement as it was being formulated. What they wanted the council to know was that they had not made any statements regarding this agreement and don't condone any statements made on their behalf to date.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
No problem.
Anyone else? We've got a few minutes here. Is anyone else looking to speak tonight? Last call. All right. Well, thank you all. Thanks for your input this evening. If there's nothing else, council, we've got nobody else coming forward. I'd look for a motion to adjourn our listening session. Motion by Councilmember Carter, second by Councilmember D'Alessandro to adjourn. No further discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries 6-0 and we stand adjourned. We'll head downstairs for our council meeting. Thanks.